You're listening to WRRT, WompRatRadio, Tatooine.
Iceland Spaceport. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Impressive. Most impressive. You are not a Jedi yet.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power.
I love you.
I know.
It creates us, it binds the galaxy together.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
No disintegrations.
As you wish.
Half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
This is where the fun begins.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi.
Don't think. Use your instincts.
This is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
Asoka. My name is Asoka Tano.
Why did you come here?
Because of you and your apprentice.
You already know the truth. The belonging you seek is not behind you. It is ahead.
My name's Rex. But you'll call me Captain or Sir.
Sir, yes, sir.
They said 50 years old.
The commission was quite specific. The asset was to be terminated.
Stop it!
Whoa, hand. Slow down. Might want to quit while you're ahead.
You might want to quit while you're behind.
Can't tear this ship apart until you found those plans and bring me the passengers. I want them alive.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only
Not
hope.
so fast. It appears I have an idiot's array.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
He doesn't like you.
Sorry.
I don't like you either.
I am Bo-Katan of Clan Kryze.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Use the Force, Luke. Let go, Luke. You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
Be worse.
It's worse.
Ranger Crest, do you copy? You have to reduce speed.
Almost there. Almost there.
Ranger Crest, do you copy?
May the Force be with you.
Your destiny lies with me, Skywalker. Obi-Wan knew this to be true. War's not make one great.
Thank Varric, that was close.
You're right. You're right about me.
Hello and welcome back to WompRatRadio. I'm Sam from Sam's Disney Diary and the Disney Podcast. And oh my gosh, Mandalorian, Chapter 16, the Season 2 finale. I gotta talk about it. Spoilers all over, but let me bring in everyone. Jimmy, what is up, my man? Oh,
May the Force be with you.
oh, Ed, what's happening, dude?
Hey, Sam, how's it going?
And Stan Solo, who is Hans. Well, I'm not even going to go down that path. Stan, what's up, man?
I'm also with you.
You got it. Thank you guys for joining us too, watching us. Look, this is absolutely amazing. Mandalorian did, for me, just blew my mind and was phenomenal. That's all I can say about that episode.
Screaming our head off watching it. It was crazy good.
Did not
Crazy
disappoint, for sure.
Did not disappoint. And let me throw this right now. If you have not seen Chapter 16, the last episode of The Mandalorian Season 2, spoiler alerts because we're going to be all over this. This is your get out of jail card because I would not want to be spoiled or tipped off to any of this. It would just ruin the entire experience.
And unfortunately, it's not even been a full week after the show has come out. And if you look at the internet, you're going to get spoiled. Every headline
I'm with you, Ed.
things that happened.
I'm with you, Ed. And this is
That's why Stan Solo wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch it.
yeah. 3 o'clock. I'm 2:30. I'm there.
but it's true because I don't want to be spoiled for these things. So
right.
Anyway, before we jump into it, last week while we were ready to go live, I learned from Stan that Jeremy Bullock had passed away, and oh my gosh, that's the original Boba Fett. Timing is just incredible on that, isn't it? The fact that all this Boba Fett stuff happening is amazing. And I knew he was Boba Fett, but he did a little homework. I didn't realize he was also the Imperial officer in Empire Strikes Back. That I thought was really cool. And he was also Captain Colton in Revenge of the Sith, and his name was Jeremock Colton. I thought that was cool. Isn't that cool? And he's got action figures for those things too. But anyway, we are here to talk about season 2, finally, chapter 16, The Rescue. And I need to play a clip from our last show. And Jimmy, you're going to remember this. Ed, you may have seen it, but I'm bringing Stan in a clip because he was right.
Wear 2 pairs of socks because you get 1 pair blown off. That's all I got to say for
I like it. He was absolutely right, huh?
Wow.
No doubt.
Absolutely right.
So, Force Vision, Stan Solo?
He had it. All right. Very quick recap because I like to kind of get everybody up to where we are. At the end of chapter 14, we knew that Bo-Katan was looking for Gideon because of the Darksaber. Gideon had the assets. Mando, Cara, Fennec, Boba Fett knew Gideon's location and assumed that he had Grogu. And we also know that Grogu had made a connection through the Force, or we think that he did, and Ahsoka's looking for Thrawn. That's all that was happening at that time. So that brings everybody up to space, right? Up to speed. That's all that was going on, right? And this just shows you how cool this universe is. First scene we see, we see the Slave One chasing after an Imperial shuttle.
And very selective firing to boot.
Very selective firing, but then hit it with an ion cannon, which was kind of cool to see it disable the craft. And I think we learned a couple of things very quickly with Dr. Pershing here, which, by the way, we're going to talk about what happens to this guy because we're really not sure. They knew that Grogu was alive and he was on the cruiser with Gideon. Those are the 2 things we learned. And then there was an interesting little standoff there, right?
Very interesting. With the pilot?
With the pilot?
With one of the pilots.
With the pilot and
one of the pilot. And Cara.
I like the one that was like, I'm not with them.
I'm not with them.
Look, this is just a job. I'm not here to die for and the other pilot.
And he was
and he gets shot immediately.
Yeah, I did love this scene here because this was Slave One coming up over top of it and then docking on it. That was really, really cool in my opinion. Here's what you were talking about. I'm not with him. They're holding Pershing there, and there was an interesting conversation that happened. Jimmy, you were talking about it beforehand.
Oh, but yeah, one of my favorite parts from this episode was when he tells her, I was on the Death Star, and she says, which one?
Which one?
Right.
Which I thought was great.
We've destroyed a couple of those.
The better part of
only one of them destroyed Alderaan, though.
True.
Yeah. Well, that's the one.
So that's the one that she's concerned about.
But the better part of the conversation is how he's whining over how many millions of Imperial troops died and how she feel bad for that. Not about really anything else that happened. So that was really kind of the part of that.
You know, I mean, sometimes good side, bad side is perspective, right? When you look at it that way, they're Imperial, and these guys were rebels, and they were terrorists.
Sure. Yeah. You think about it, because how many barbers do they have on the Death Star, and how many cooks do they have on the Death Star? So maybe a little bit, but the Death Star didn't have to be there, though. So
yeah. Hey, Rich, how's it going? David, your son's name's Colton. That's awesome. Kim, good to see you. Lana Lou, how you doing?
What's up, Lana?
Chris, David, that's awesome. So and the scene was cool. Here's the one thing I caught out of it. When the Imperial officer said, I saw your tear. And I had noticed this previously, but you're talking about the tattoo that Cara Dune has, which is a symbol of Alderaan. And I couldn't really get a good picture of it until I found a social media image of Gina that she shared from backstage. So that gave me the best shot of what that
Oh, that looks photoshopped, though.
It might be. It's an Instagram photo that she shared, but that's what it is up close.
So it's the rebel.
Time I've seen good, like every once in a while you get a good look at it. It was a rebel looking. It's in you.
It's like that. So that's I'm sure it is a little bit, but that's kind of cool. That's the tier, and it's a shout out to Alderaan, which is where she's from. I
always just assumed that's what it was for.
And he calls her. He calls her when she comes on the ship. He calls her dropper.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, he must have known from the. I don't know if that's the tattoo.
She's got the bars that because in one of the previous episodes, Mando tells her to cover it up so she wouldn't be recognized as a drop trooper.
Right. So that's got to be what that is, and that's a rebel dropshipper, and there's a whole story there, and we'll learn more about her. So after they find that out, Slave One heads to, not sure what planet it is. Some people have speculated it's Lothal, some Trask. I'm going to think it's Trask because that's where we last saw her. There's some pre-Imperial logos on the manufacturing things behind that, but at the end of the day, that is Bo-Katan's ship that's parked there, which from the Clone Wars last season, you might recognize it, but it's kind of cool in the way that it looks and the way it takes off and lands.
Yep.
Which this entire thing, I think, leads to one of my favorite jokes, which is two bounty hunters walk into a bar. I love this scene. Are you kidding me? You got Mando and Boba Fett together walking into the bar or the establishment or the restaurant or whatever it is, right?
A local watering hole.
Yep. A beautiful watering hole. And we get one of our first really cool Easter eggs here. And I want to thank Ed for helping me with this. But they walk in and they find Bo-Katan. They find her assistant there too, and I'm blanking on her name right now. I know I had it written earlier.
Let's just call her sidekick.
No sidekicks.
He's in the chat.
Yeah. No sidekicks could talk.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, Scott, thanks for the comments on the intro. I put a lot of work into that sucker. So it's a menu. So if it's a menu and it's in, what's the language, Ed?
Arabish.
It's got to be able to get translated. So Ed did exactly that for us and translated what we have here on the menu in this establishment, which is kind of cool. Lots of interesting things. David, absolutely. She's was mixed martial arts, if I remember right.
No. Bo-Katan's sidekick.
Oh, Bo-Katan's sidekick. Yes.
Yeah, she's a WWE wrestler.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. All right, back to the menu. The very first thing on here, Kata ribs, which, by the way, is an animal that if you went through Star Wars lore, you'd find it. But here's the cool part. You can buy it at Docking Bay 7 at Galaxy's Edge.
Nice.
That's kind of cool.
Popular along the galaxy.
The same with the tipya. The tipya, which is also on the menu, is available at Docking Bay 7 and Galaxy's Edge. Kind of cool. The crushed nut is in the Galaxy's Edge cookbook. It's not on the menu at Galaxy's Edge, but the Yaba shrimp is on the menu at Galaxy's Edge. So the tie-ins are amazing here, aren't they?
Yeah, except I think they really dropped the ball on space waffles. What did they get to the point where they just couldn't make it up anymore?
Space waffles, but the waffles have shown up in other things, and even some of these, like the Melaroon, you remember that from Rebels, Jimmy.
Yep.
It's like an orange, and it's all over. Every one of these things links back to something.
Ezra was all over.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if space waffles is a joke for Mickey waffles.
Sure.
It could be.
And they're going to have Easter eggs inside Easter eggs, which is awesome.
Yeah. I just said this is just cool. This is the detail that Star Wars brings you that you gotta love. And the next time now that I'm in Docking Bay 7 at Galaxy's Edge, I'm ordering the Yoba shrimp. Yeah,
Yep. The Yoba shrimp is really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I haven't tried the tip yip yet. That's my next thing. Next go to.
Is the shrimp, I believe, is chicken.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
I believe that's what it is.
It is
Tim, I'm with you. You're going to need a lot of money next time you go to Galaxy's Edge. That's for sure. Because you can just go through all this. Which, by the way, I think it's the polystarch. That's a reference to what Rey was getting in The Force Awakens when she was getting her ration, or she had water to it and it kind of puffed up. It's one of those things. So everything here has a connection, which is really cool. So what's on the menu there is what I was asking. All right, back to our story.
It looked like polystarch wouldn't. It almost seems like it wouldn't be something you see on a menu. It looked like more like an MRE, like what you'd have to survive on if you couldn't get to a restaurant.
Yeah,
or if you have any credits,
or if maybe if you were broke.
Maybe you don't have any credits and you needed something. That's what I thought.
It was down by the part of the menu where they had the veg meat, so it's definitely on the eating right part of the menu. So that's why it's by itself.
Oh, so it's for the vegans then?
Yes, exactly.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, and with the veg meat.
Yeah,
sounds like the vegetarian
impossible ribs.
You got it.
Impossible.
All right, back to the story. Boba Fett, the armor looks great. I got mine right here. I'm wondering if I should clean it up. We'll talk about that later. But man, Boba and Bo-Katan did not get along, man. I don't know if there's a history or what, but wow.
You're not from Mandalore. You're
not Mandalorian. You're a clone.
But that came a little later on. He was already let's bag this place after she said like, it's not going to happen or something.
Yeah, she's like, we don't need them.
Yeah, it was out of.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing that happened is he says, "I need your help," and she goes, and she said, her response was, "Not all Mandalorians are bounty hunters."
Right.
Right.
Which was kind of like, look at you two jokes. You're not.
Yeah.
You're kind of below, right. You're a clone, and you're like a cultist nut job that won't remove help. So we're true Mandalorian. It was almost like she looked down upon them a little bit.
And she knew it right away when Boba spoke. She heard that right away. He was a clone. She nailed it.
Oh
I've
yeah,
heard
yeah.
his voice a million times before,
Mm-hmm.
and it might be the last one. And that's when he takes a swing, and the whole little fight thing starts, which was kind of cool. I liked it. The jetpack in the fight. Whoa,
that was nice. Right.
This right here, where he says this armor belonged to my father. She said, "You mean your donor?"
Yes,
right. That was right up there too.
Yeah,
that's exactly what she said.
Although I think he's saying that too many times. He kind of keeps bringing that up every show. So I'm glad we're done with that.
Yeah, hopefully that is behind us now. So they work it out eventually, and Bo-Katan decides to go with them. They go back to Slave One, and the Doctor still happens to be on Slave One, and they come up with some plans from Moff Gideon's cruiser, which was interesting.
One of the things that we learned about the Doctor is he's not very loyal to the Empire.
No.
Well, but even back to the other episode when we first saw him, he was concerned with Grogu's safety.
He was more concerned about that than anything else, and he told Mando that no, I saved him. But in this scene, they didn't have to twist his arm to get information.
But who tells their battle plans in front of their prisoner?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point.
We're gonna go in here.
Not very big inside.
Right there, hearing all this.
Yeah, but it was convenient he was hearing them because this would have had hundreds of troopers, and now it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, it turned out for the best that they did tell their plans in front of it.
But Kim's right there with her comments. She thought that he was lying while he was going through some of this stuff.
Well, when he first said you're underestimating the forces on that thing, and she made a comment like, "I'm not going to believe you." And that's when he tells her, there's a garrison
about the Dark Troopers. Yeah, the Dark Troopers are kind of cool.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we speculated the Dark Troopers previously. They come from a video game, and what's kind of cool about that, and Ed, I don't know if you played this game before, but it came from Dark Forces.
I totally did.
Yeah, so there you go, Dark Forces, which, by the way, was originally released in 1995 on DOS and Macintosh.
Yes.
And then in 1996 was released for PlayStation 1.
Wow.
You spent the entire game hearing about that Dark Trooper. It was the rumor, it was like the talk, and you went around seeing all these inclinations of like it up until almost the end when you finally started running into them.
Yeah, and you had to get phased up to get to the final phase, which was cool that Pershing said they're the third phase, and we removed they're droids, they're not humans. We removed the last weak link. That was just cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I remember that cover like yesterday, that LucasArts Dark Forces Star Wars.
Yeah. So, I think I might have even played that game. I don't play video games very often.
Yeah. Well, it was a PC-based game, right? Because it came out for DOS and Mac. Didn't run on a console.
I probably have it upstairs in the attic still.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Which now you got to get that back out. All right, the plan was cool, and I love these light speed shots. I think they're the coolest thing ever. Just the traveling in light speed.
And you learn something new. You could stay with a ship in light speed. I thought it was a matter of you set your destination and you basically see each other once you get there.
That's what I thought too. You boom, 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 boom. There must be something else involved in having yourself close enough to each other to see them.
And did you do that in Bunger's Run when you're going through hyperspace with Hondo? He's right behind you.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess.
I don't. Yeah, I was too worried about in front of me and steering the thing. Stand.
That's interesting because if I would have guessed previously, I wouldn't have thought that all ships travel through light speed at the same speed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got different Mach 1, Mach 2.
Yeah, you got different speeds light speed.
I would. That's a whole nother conversation. But I would think too. I think it's a matter of how you get into light speed and how you stay in it, as opposed to how fast you go in it. But that's a conversation down the road.
Got it. It's cool. It's cool that they come out of it. They come out of light speed chasing each other. And then what I think maybe was one of the coolest things that I saw happen and never had happened before, and Ed, you had some references to this, was the launch of a TIE fighter out of this shuttle. I just thought it was so cool because we never saw anything like this before.
Which the first thing that came to my mind was Battlestar Galactica when they launched the Vipers. And
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, a little like Easter egg with Starbuck being in the cast now.
It's just cool because we never saw this before.
Design, though. Having the same launch tube as this entrance and exit. It's not the best design.
Very much so, right. And actually, if you think back to the Battlestar Galactica show, how many times did the hangars get shut down? And that was the end of a fighter operation. So, it makes no sense.
It's At least in Battlestar Galactica, they had two of them, so you could have one launching, one,
recovering. Sure.
Yeah.
And it did lead the question beforehand, which was, I don't know what scale this is compared to a Star Destroyer, because a Star Destroyer, you have that big open bay and you just kind of drop them into the sky, right?
Look at the size of the TIE fighter coming out of it. That gives you an idea of the scale of the ship at this point, too. I think you're right. I think you put the ship in the bay of a Star Destroyer.
You're probably right. I think you're right.
This is a light cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
It's a light cruiser, and this was Gideon's science project, right?
Right.
Because it's not that big when you look at it like that. You're right. It's Gideon's clone experiment at the end of the day. We'll get to more of that later. But they eventually get in, and we got this just monster squad coming in and taking everybody out.
Hard-ass woman crew of killers going on here.
Yeah,
absolutely. That crew, you do not want to mess with that crew. That is for sure. And these guys they blast their way in, they get there, and then we see those dark troopers starting to gear themselves up, which was interesting. Mando comes in after him, right? And he takes on a couple of these dark troopers, and we find out just how strong Beskar really is. Right. Because holy cow.
Walking Sock'em robot.
It looked like Rock'em Sock'em robots, you're right. And the fact that Mando's helmet was going through the side of the ship is like, holy cow.
No, we had a discussion on the Grand Circle Tour podcast. So that steam that comes out, is that coming from the wall behind him, or is that coming from under his mask?
The wall behind him.
The wall behind him.
Sure he broke something in the wall behind him.
And I almost wanted to say that the gas is flammable, because when he kind of flames the dark trooper in front of him, the whole flame seems to go up inside the armor and up into the head, as if it's like kind of like burning the gas around him. But I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sam, I throw that image there for you.
Yeah, go for it. Hold on one second.
You'd have to. Yeah, I threw it up there for you.
Yeah. Oh, nice, Jimmy. Thank you. Jimmy's got some.
There we go.
Homework for us. There we go. Yeah, it might not fit in the bay, but it sure is a heck of a lot smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that Indictor class cruiser is probably the light cruiser, the one he's in, right?
Yeah. Right. I can't see the picture close enough because my screen's a little shrunk. But Interdictor. You know what that is? That's the class cruiser that brings ships out of hyperspace. So they put these in a system. If it's there, you can't go into hyperspace if it's active. That big ball here is what.
Yeah.
That's what an interdictor is. So which one's his?
Yeah, he's not in this one.
I think it's the size of the smaller.
Yeah, I would think it would be close to this size if I had to guess. It's a light cruiser.
At the top right is the picture, I think, of his ship, isn't it?
It could be.
The black? Not that one. Keep going top right. Keep going further up.
Oh, this right here?
Next to it. That one. Isn't that where the ties come out the middle?
Yeah, maybe. Come out the middle there.
Anyway.
That more elongated front.
Mm.
So
anyway, it's I
up here is a Victory, the one you're talking about. When I click on it,
listen to us nerd out on this.
Yeah.
That kind of looks like
it's a light cruiser.
You guys are nerds.
And those are the two turns that you told Boba to watch out for. That the green beams came out that he almost got hit by, and you can see them turning.
Exactly right.
It's this guy.
That's awesome. We got to do some size comparisons later. I love it, Jimmy.
If that's his introduction.
Jim, you're right. 4 badass women get the. Move. That's exactly right.
Big time.
And they got these things. So, and as soon as you think they're going to come out, Mando takes one of them out, makes his way over, releases the hatch. They all fly out, and I'm thinking to myself, that was too easy.
And gone for good.
Right there and then, you know the capabilities of the Dark Troopers. You know you didn't see them for the last time. You don't know how that happened.
I was thinking to myself, that was too easy.
I thought the same thing, but I thought they were gone for good. We're never going to see him again. That was my
first thought. I was hoping that.
I was waiting for him.
And then we get some shots of the bridge. The girl combo took it out. They're all waiting to find Gideon, because remember, the one thing that Bo-Katan wants, and we missed it back at the bar, but she made it specific to Mando that she wanted Gideon. She wanted Gideon. She wanted him alive. So Mando just wants Grogu. He heads to find her, and guess who's in there with Grogu, right? Saying, I bet your friends are taking the bridge.
And you know what he said? He said, assume I know everything.
Which was, okay. He's watching cameras and trying to get in his head. That's what I was thinking.
Right.
Well, he does seem to always be one step ahead for some reason.
He does. He
just has good spies, and like you said, he watched the cameras, because what he said really didn't have anything other than what we saw too.
Right.
He shot his full rockets off his wrist, and
yeah. But one of the coolest thing here I thought was, as he's waving the Darksaber back and forth, you could see the white edges of it. And when he holds it sideways, it looks like a white saber, and he's lighting up the child with it while he's going back and forth. It was just cool looking.
Yeah, edges were cracked.
Yeah. It was cool looking. And of course he says, sure, come and get him and get off my ship. And that results in a nice little fight between the two of them. That fight between the two of them goes on for a little bit.
And we also find out Beskar can stop a Darksaber.
Yes, Beskar can't. Well, Darksaber can't cut through pure Beskar.
And
Beskar was the point.
And here's the thing: the spear. Who came up with the idea? Like, is that in history of Mandalore? Because I got to think of better weapons than a spear. But
that came from the lady back on.
I know she got it. I understand that. It's just a matter of just even the design of the idea. Coming up with the spear seems like such a randomness.
And even if it did come from the other lady on that planet,
did she get it?
Where'd she get it? Right, she would have still had to get it, because isn't it like, don't they need special tools and stuff like that to handle Beskar?
Yeah, based on it not being able to be broken by sabers or by black sabers or whatever. Yeah, I think that.
Well, the Empire was able to forge it. They made those credits.
Yeah,
Beskar.
Look,
yeah, you're right.
I have,
and the fact that Mando decides not to kill Gideon, this should be interesting, and of course it is.
Well, he was asked not to. They get an extra couple bucks because they're going to bring him in alive for questioning.
Yeah, that's right.
To the rebels.
It's old school ancient. That's what Kim says. I think she might be right. That's a fight again that we just saw. She can't take. So Mando attempts to give the sword to Bo-Katan. And of course, Gideon gets right in the way. She can't take it. It must be one. And here's my first thought.
He did it on purpose.
My first thought, back to Rebels. Because Bo-Katan didn't have any problem taking it from Ren.
Sister.
Yeah, but
for my clan. And for all of Mandalore.
True.
Ren found it versus winning it in battle. Ren
stole it from Darth Maul.
Yeah, but she didn't get it in battle. So there's your difference.
But you still carry on the what's the word? The unhonor of her stealing it and then her using it. So that kind of.
She still didn't win it the first time, so that is definitely a plot hole.
Although she does say, I accept it for my sister, the Duchess. Not for her. But I'm going, wait a minute. You won't take it from Mando? Is it because Gideon was there and he's going to tell on you? I don't get it.
That's the thing. You could have killed him and you could have told everybody else to be quiet and boom, everything would have worked out.
Well,
it never does. But
when Gideon was going on and on, my daughter goes, "Can somebody just shoot him already so he shuts up?"
She's used to the other scenes from the other ones. That was good. Then, of course, these guys are back. They fly back because, remember, they're droids, and it wasn't going to be too easy to just flush them out the back. So they regroup, they recycle, they come back in, and they fly right in, by the way. I love that bridge that they used throughout the episode where it was empty space under it, and one of the stormtroopers falls through there, but then these things just fly right in. And I'm like, oh, that was really cool. And here's who's in the room for the stand. You got the Mando plus the ladies, and Gideon's down at that point. Which
okay, so my big problem with this whole scene right now is that we just discovered that Mando has the Darksaber. It's his weapon. He's going to have to hold on to it for now. Wouldn't you think that would be one of the weapons to pull out, at least in the other hand, where you have the pistol in one hand?
Yeah.
Ready for these guys?
Because where is it? I couldn't find it. I zoomed in this entire scene, and I can't find from this angle where is the Darksaber.
Well, he was trying to save the batteries. He didn't want to.
You know how frustrating that is when you get a new Christmas present and the batteries go out. And
yeah, exactly. They don't come
open on Christmas Day, and you can't get new batteries.
Ooh, I got to get batteries. We're close to that.
Write it down. Make a list.
Ian says she accepted it from Sabine because Sabine didn't win it in battle. It was stolen from Maul's fortress.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah,
but she still took it.
And if Maul stole it, did Maul steal it, or did he fight for it? Then we'd have to go back to that story, because if he stole it originally, then the honor wouldn't have to worry about it. So
no, he took out Pre Vizsla. Yeah, he killed Pre Vizsla.
It was on the USB charger, David says.
USB charge. That's where
there you go.
It was on USB charge. Yes, that's exactly where mine just was. Anyway, you look at it, I couldn't find it here because I want to know where it is. And of course, the robots are playing Rock'em Sock'em with the door. They're getting closer and closer and closer. And then we get, the best scene ever, which is, what's that?
You knew it right away. I was screaming.
It's an X-Wing. It's like, okay. And we're going to get to timelines and things in a minute, but it's an X-Wing. And one of the coolest things I thought was when Grogu's like, wait a minute, what's going on? And the ears perk up a little bit, and he's like, ooh. I just thought that was great.
He was sensitive.
It was great. A little bit of music behind him, and then you have Bo-Katan goes, it's a Jedi. She knows because she's
the Empire has such high, amazing technology. And they're using these curved black and white screens that thicker from the 30s.
From the 70s. From the 70s.
I mean, look at those buttons. Those buttons.
Yeah, they're pretty basic. They're for like the older people.
It's basic. Exactly, Ed. It's basic. You know what? I was looking for any English on here. There's nothing to translate. That makes me mad. I want to translate something.
So, okay, Luke's walking down this hallway. He's got his cape. He's got his hood on. And
a Jedi's walking down the hallway, but okay.
Okay, the Jedi. But still, the point of the hood, okay, come on. He wore the entire walk up and literally down to here in some of these shots.
Yeah, well, there's Bo-Katan, a Jedi.
That's how I wear my Jedi red.
Yeah, I mean, I got one too. And the fear in Gideon was amazing. And this scene was just phenomenal. Absolutely love this. Standing up.
What was interesting, how the robots stopped punching and all turned because there was a bigger threat on the ship.
Right. They must have
that's exactly it. They must have programming to take out the biggest threat. But just the way it comes in, the way that they presented it, it's a green lightsaber. They show right hand holding it out. They show the gloves on the right hand. And anyone that's thinking it's Luke is going, oh my God, this has to be. Has to be. And just the way he's taking things out was amazing.
And I kept thinking it was a tease until I saw the belt buckle. Then I knew for sure that was Luke.
I missed the belt buckle, but there's the green saber, the hand holding it out to his side.
So later on, when he puts the saber away, there you see the belt buckle.
Oh, the belt buckle. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. Damn, that's good.
Yeah, that's what that's Luke for sure, because that's his belt buckle.
Sure.
I did not notice the belt buckle.
Because as I was watching this, I'm thinking it can't be Luke. It's got to be somebody else.
There's no better scene than this.
Well, maybe one.
Right, it is.
Well, this right here, yeah, just the
crush him.
Just
crushes him.
That's a little jab right there.
Just amazing right there to come in and crush it, and then we get the reveal. And
so how many years after Return of the Jedi is this? Did we establish?
Oh, that's a good question, Ed. I got my timeline next. How about that?
Look at that. Good question.
Because Luke looks like he just basically got on the ship after that last movie.
5 years.
Went here.
5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Okay, I guess they could have given him a change of clothes at least, but whatever.
It's 5 years. You have Return of the Jedi ends in 4 BBY, 5 years. Now, this timeline on the top, we had put this together before, which was some of the characters when they were born, when we last saw them, and then their age during The Mandalorian. And back then, a couple of things we were thinking, because we knew they were looking for a Jedi. And I immediately went towards Ezra Bridger, because this seemed to be based in Rebels and Clone Wars and those types of things. So Ezra they were all born in 19 BBY, by the way, Ezra, Luke, and Leia. Ezra on Empire Day, which is the day that the Empire took, happened, the day that they announced this is the Empire. Luke and Leia born 2 days after that. So they're all 28 years old, and any of them have been, so Luke should be 28.
I saw the end of Rebels again, and the way Ezra disappeared, I did not think he was going to be coming back in Mandalorian. It just seemed too many other stories going on with Ezra, so I kind of ruled him out earlier.
Well, the only reason I would have thought him is because we know that now knowing that there's an Asoka series coming out, I would say you're probably more likely to see him there, because Ahsoka's looking so broad.
Yeah. And they hired an actor to play him.
He should be with them. Yeah.
The other thing is that we know the Mandalorian started in 9 ABY, but how many years after the beginning?
Jimmy, we don't know that. How long did all these events take?
It could be 5 years in.
Yeah.
We don't know.
So Grogu's 55?
Well, that's a great point. He's 50 here. How old is he? And we'll get to this a little later, but let's jump ahead, because we know that Luke created the Jedi Temple and was training all the Jedi. And when Kylo Ren was 10 years old, he came into that, and then there was an issue, and that triggers the events of The Force Awakens. At what point in here does that happen? And where's Grogu when that goes down? Right? That's the big question everybody has.
It seems like this is going to be the new ground for them to do the movies, do the series in this area, because it's way empty. They can create anything they want.
Absolutely. And Ed, you're going right. You're training. Their thought of mine is exactly the same as mine. I'll get back to that in a second, but I wanted to do a side-by-side again like I did last week, because I think these are the two coolest scenes in Star Wars, period. It's Chapter 16, The Rescue, and Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Those two battle scenes next to each other, like father, like son.
Wow.
So cool. And that's, you're talking force chokes, you're talking throwing them, you're talking just wow.
Well, Ian commented and said force crushing is a dark side move. I only think it's a dark side move if it's done on a person. I think force crushing a droid.
There's something for that, yes.
If you want to be, when you played the games, it was specifically besides dark forces and light forces, and Crush was a dark side force. Just
got it.
Give you between the two of them.
Real quick, just a side note, because I can't let things go and I had to look this up.
Yeah, what you got? Let me pull it in.
So in this, okay, so you pull that up. Yeah. And that smallest one on there is the Interdictor class cruiser.
Okay.
The Artequin's class command cruiser, which is also known as a light cruiser, is 325 meters. So it's only half the size of the smallest one in this picture.
There we go.
Fit inside a Star Destroyer hangar.
Yeah, fit inside a Star Destroyer hangar. Yeah,
it's the size.
It's tight, but
it's the size of Princess Leia's Carillion, the ship that she flew at the beginning.
Yeah,
that's the size.
Right. That's exactly the size it is.
And if you wanted to buy one, 5 million credits.
5 million credits.
Thank you.
Credits must be inflated.
That seems pretty cheap.
I was going to say.
Thank you, Wikipedia, for that.
That seems pretty cheap.
Now I know what to ask for Christmas.
It's pretty interesting the amount of information Wikipedia gives you, because it's 325 meters.
I'm playing that again just because I like watching this, by the way.
It has 3 engine units. It has a Class 2 hyperdrive rating and a Class 12 backup.
Nice.
It's pretty interesting.
The best part of Rogue One was when they went, and the first time I saw it, I didn't know it was going to happen, when they went into the New Hope with that scene right there. And that was the most...
Oh, yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah. To me, time Rogue One right into A New Hope was the perfect.
Like a jump to light space and then out, and you're in A New Hope.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. One of my favorites, and we'll talk about that one later. But all right, then we get back to we got Grogu watching what's happening. You got Mando that picks him up to start their sad goodbye, I guess. And one of the most touching things here, and if you think about it, Mando's got his helmet on. He's always had his helmet on, as far as we know. He only lifted it up to drink soup that one time.
Well, he took it off the
Man,
last episode. Go ahead.
I don't know that Grogu saw him. So is
Grogu may have not seen him.
Yeah, Grogu
Right.
did.
So this was kind of cool. And when you think about it, Grogu reaches out and touches Mando. Based on his culture, that's the first time somebody's touched him since he was a child and put his helmet on. That's crazy if you think about it like that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, he almost cried.
What are you talking about? I cried. I literally cried.
I'll tell you when I didn't cry there. I'll tell you when I cried because he was still questioning whether or not to go. And then that's when I cried. As soon as R2 starts beeping, I'm like, are you kidding me? R2's with Luke. Of course R2's with Luke. Why wouldn't he be?
Now, did R2 and Grogu recognize each other? Because R2 got really excited when he saw Grogu.
That's a story going around. The theory is perhaps R2 helped Grogu get out of the Jedi Temple.
Or maybe R2 saved him.
Right.
Yeah.
And Grogu doesn't remember, but R2 did. So Grogu
It was beautiful, Kim, of course.
Yeah, totally.
Ian just likes to crush things. I could see him with a beer can on his head right now.
He probably would.
Just force power, crush the beer.
Just force power, crush it. Yeah, exactly. All right. So at the end of this is what's going on in the bridge. Exactly what was there before. You would think that Gideon's laying on the ground here somewhere, and we have no idea where the Darksaber is or who has it at this point. Bo-Katan does not, because they both have two blasters drawn.
And he put it in one of his pockets, obviously, is what happened. Mando's got pockets everywhere.
Mando's pockets? Could be.
And look at how the reverse has happened. We now have Mando no helmet.
Clip on his belt.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
David, totally. I thought that too. As far as maybe he knew, because Yoda was that type of alien.
He knew Yoda. Absolutely, he knew Yoda. He's never seen anybody like that before.
Did go a little off though, so I think he had personal.
Yeah. Then we get that's the last scene you see right there when the door closes and they go to credits. And I wanted more. Because I wanted the camera to turn around and see what the rest of the characters did next. What did they do? Who grabbed Gideon, right? Because there was a whole scramble there where Gideon was like, I got to go. They're going to get information from me. And Cara Dune stops him because Cara needs him because...
He didn't kill it. He tried to execute himself. He tried to suicide himself.
Right.
He knocked the gun from his face and then knocked him out with the butt of the rifle.
Oh, she nailed him too. That's the cliffhanger. We had to have some type of cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's something.
Grogu, it was definitely the whole Moff Gideon and what's going to happen next. We don't know.
Cara also taught us a new swear word.
Yeah, and she used it
when her gun was jammed. We got the dank ferret, and then the son of a what was it?
Oh, it's a mud something.
Mud, yeah,
something.
I meant to get that clip. That clip is going in the intro, by the way. Dank ferret, son of a mudsucker, or whatever it is.
We can catch all the dank ferrets.
All right, then after that, we get the post credits. Come on, Favreau, you're killing us. Post credits. Now we're gonna have to watch them all to the end.
Not even announced last week. This was all fresh.
All fresh. And meanwhile, back on Tatooine, two sons, Jabba's palace. No problem. Come into Jabba's palace. There's Bib. Fortuna, right?
Yep.
He's got a couple more chins and a much bigger, whatever that thing's called that comes around him.
Son of a mud scuffer.
He's
son of a mud scuffer. Thank you.
He's getting almost Jabba-sized.
He's getting Jabba-sized, and I think if he had been left there for another decade, he would be Jabba-sized. Some of the dancers, by the way, are the same dancers that were from Return of the Jedi. There's some in the background that people have highlighted, and it's kind of cool. All that connection.
The blue girl here in the front that was the slave that was chained. She's definitely from.
Yep. And one of the other dancers in the back, and it ends up with this, which, by the way, we're coming back to this, Jimmy, because last week on the live show we talked about that thing, didn't we?
No, that's not it.
I thought that was it.
No, down to his left.
Down to his left.
Right there. Go up a little bit. Nope. Right on the edge of the chair.
Oh, this.
That right there is that drink sipper that came out.
All right. That's my next slide. So
and when Jabba had
we heard the Book of Boba's announced. I have a ton of questions because this wasn't part of the media day and all the stuff we talked about. We'll come back to that in a second. But at Galaxy's Edge, one of our Disney nerds friend posted some pictures of the Patty Frog sipper, which is now available at Galaxy's Edge, which Jimmy said that's from Jabba's place. And that's what we're just saying. It's the thing that's sitting right over here.
Well, I was like, wasn't it like he had a big bowl that he had those frog things in too?
Maybe it's hard to see in here.
Any way you look at it, it's there somewhere, and I'm getting one when I go down.
And that is cool because you open it up and there's something inside of it too, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a frog.
Like a little frog inside it. Yeah, there's a little frog inside it. Which okay, all of that together, and by the way, Kim, you're gonna need more than $1 million because you need $1,017,49
for this.
More now, unless you get alcohol in it, that's probably gonna be 25. Another story. Okay, so now what? This goes back to because the Boba Fett thing was awesome. I thought.
Yeah, definitely.
And this goes back to what you talked about. The Star Wars timeline, what we had, and I want to play Kathleen Kennedy's clip just one more time, a piece of it, because there's some things that now are alluding and filled out when she says the next chapter. She's really referring to the Book of Boba.
Today, I'm excited to share with you that John and Dave are concurrently developing 2 new spin-off series exclusively for Disney+. One, The Rangers of the New Republic, and the other featuring fan favorite Asoka Tano. Set within the timeline of The Mandalorian, these interconnected shows, along with future stories, will excite new audiences, embrace our most passionate fans, and will culminate in a climactic story event. The next chapter will debut on Disney Plus Christmas of 2021.
So she was talking about the Book of Boba when she said Christmas of 2021.
And here's the problem. We are used to hearing chapters because each week Mandalorian is the next chapter.
Exactly right.
Her term of chapter means it's now not the Mandalorian, it's going to be Boba Fett, the next chapter of
Book of Boba. You got it.
Same series.
All of that said, now here's what we know. We have the Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Asoka Tano, and Rangers of the Republic, which, Ed, to the point you made before, if all of that is happening in 9 ABY, the events of Return of the Jedi are 4, and The Force Awakens doesn't start at 30 until 34. That's 40 years of stories that can be told in there. That's huge.
Sure. And what do you think they did after Return of the Jedi with all the books? They've had hundreds of books that take place in that time period.
Yeah.
Han and Leia having kids and all the stories of their kids, from Luke and Mara Jade and their adventures, from Thrawn and his.
It's all there. And that's why I just look at this and I go, holy cow. Now, there's a couple of things that we do know because, as I said before, we know in this timeline, and I didn't put it on, Luke creates that temple. And at some point here, things go bad with Kylo Ren, and he, burns the building down. All the events that were a flashback in the latest Star Wars movies in Skywalker. I don't know exactly when that happens, but I'm going to say it's more to the right hand side of this timeline. Sure. Here's another interesting thing. If you look at some of the history, if Grogu is 50 here at 9, right? 50, 60, 70, maybe around 80 or 78. Here's what we know. Yoda became a Jedi Master at 100.
Oh, I was thinking he'd be just a teenager at that age. Well, I guess maybe.
Well, either way, if Yoda was a Jedi Master at the age 100, Grogu's getting pretty close to that. And if he's got the right training from Luke, you never know. It's just interesting. Mm-hmm. Interesting as could be.
Yeah, we're going to hear a lot of. I'm sorry.
Lots of stories to tell.
Oh, definitely. Plus, we got to do all the prequels leading up to the latter Star Wars movies too. Who's Katana? Why is she like the big, casino runner or whatever? All those different people we already met.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, all the characters from Mandalorian, which is huge. Back to the Book of Boba Fett. This is earlier today. This was an Instagram post. This is official. Which was the Book of Boba Fett, a new original series starring who we knew was there. And basically what it means is, look, we have, and my question was, we have the Book of Boba Fett, the Mandalorian, Asoka Tano, Rangers of the Republic. And the big question I asked all you guys earlier, is the Book of Boba Fett really the Mandalorian Chapter 3? And I didn't know until this morning when John Favreau was on Good Morning America. So here's what he said about it.
I do. Well, we have at the end of the show, Boba Fett came out and it said the Book of Boba Fett coming coming December of 2021. And that wasn't part of the big Disney announcement, but here's the logo. We wanted to hold this back because we don't want to spoil the surprise during the big Disney announcement of all the shows when Kathleen Kennedy was up there. And so they let me keep this one a secret. So this is actually separate from The Mandalorian Season 3. But what we didn't say in that announcement is that the next show coming up, Kathy said the next chapter, and that's going to be the Book of Boba Fett. and then we go into production right after that on season 3 of The Mandalorian. Back with the main character that we all have known and loved. So that's going to be pretty soon following that.
Okay. Did you see the Tiki's behind him?
Production now while we're in production on Boba Fett. I do. Well,
okay.
Check out the Tiki.
Yeah, the Tiki was good in the background, wasn't it? I'll go back. They did call that out later. He's got Yoda, IG-11, and that was the Mando on the right, which was cool. So basically, he said that the Book of Boba Fett comes out in December of this year around Christmas. It is completely separate from Mandalorian. Mandalorian season 3, they will begin to film as soon as they finish production of Book of Boba Fett, and it will be the next year. He didn't say when. He didn't say the next December. He didn't say February. He said the next year, which tells me Mando season 3 is in 2022. But we don't know when.
I'm going to put it out on a limb. I think they're going to have a guest shot of Mando in the Book of Boba Fett, perhaps. Only
you would imagine.
Only if the show continues on from here on.
Right, depends on what the timeline is. The Book of Boba Fett could start as a prequel to all this and tell you the origin story of Boba Fett.
But I think it's kind of after, because I think the Book of Boba Fett. Well, I don't know. Does it start with him sitting on Jabba's castle?
It would have to be after.
Or is that foreshadowing? And that's where they're going to end, is him sitting, and now they're going to go tell you how he got there.
Oh.
Yeah. Dave, you're right. Favreau's amazing. And also and Jimmy, what reminds me all the time, he's the creative force behind the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe.
He was great in The Replacements. He was.
Well, he didn't have his armor before that, though, because the Marshal had it before that, and then Boba didn't have it.
Well, but it could be him chasing down his armor. Who says he has to have his armor on in some of the
even
right?
prior to that? It could be
flashbacks.
It could
be repainted armor.
But it could be. It could be as a young Boba, like you see in the Clone Wars after Jango Fett dies.
There could be flashbacks and
how he became a bounty hunter.
Oh, true. The Book of Boba Fett. We're going to hear all about him. Definitely.
Yes.
It could be. Could be a whole origin story on how.
I can't wait to see it. Sign me up. Take my money. I can't wait to see it. That's what it's about. Right.
Right.
So I thought what we could do very quickly is go through those and who we think might be in these things as far as the different series. Because one thing that Kathleen Kennedy said, it all culminates in an epic event. So all of these things come together in an epic event. Is that so Marvel? I cannot wait to follow this entire story.
It's totally Marvel-esque.
It is. So Asoka, you got Asoka Tano, you got Bo-Katan. You know that Ahsoka's looking for Thrawn. You have Ezra out there. You have
we've seen
out there
with Thrawn.
Yes, and you got a whole bunch of Rebels animated. There's a long list of potential Mandalorians that could be on this. This is going to be cool. I can't wait to watch this. I want to see Thrawn in real life. I want to see live action Grand Admiral Thrawn. Period.
You know what, man? Yeah. I'm a light side guy. I'm always a fan of the light side, more than the dark side. But Thrawn is a very complex and interesting character.
Absolutely, the character development there is amazing, and to see him, and you've listened to some of the audiobooks, so you get even more the way that he changes his demeanor, and he's very meticulous, and he's very I can't even talk like that because I'm not like that. I'm all over the map, as you guys know. All right, that's Ahsoka. Next is Rangers of the New Republic. Dude, I think Kara's a Ranger. I think our Canadian buddy is going to be one of the Rangers. I think Trapper Wolf's going to be in there. And I'm going to throw one of my thoughts out there. I think that Miggs might end up being a Ranger.
Why go further with Carl Weathers then, too, I guess, right?
Carl, yeah. You know what? I forgot all about him. We haven't seen him in a couple episodes. Yes, throw Carl Weathers on here.
And Mando showing up sometime through it.
I don't think he's going to. I'm not saying he won't be in the show, but he's not going to be
not a main character. No,
he's not going to be a main character because he's like the governor or the
mayor or whatever. Yeah,
whatever over that whole town.
Right.
Yeah. That could be it. But last show, Ed, I know you weren't on last show, but I went through when Kara was flipping through all the prisoners in the New Republic. I'm thinking to myself, there's a story behind every one of these prisoners, because all of these translate to names. All of them translate to what they're in prison for. Some of these could be in prison for the wrong reason, because Miggs never killed that guy. It was the twig that did it, and it's okay.
By the way, Ed, that's also homework.
Right.
You can actually look at those guys and see which one is going to be in a show, because down from Bill to the right one is the character that looks like he would stand out as an actor, because it's like kind of lighter than the rest.
Yeah. Now, I'd like to be an actor who goes, that looks like me.
This is long as the egg nut.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't look like an
or the Walrus Man down here.
Yeah.
All right, so we get then the Book of Boba Fett, Asoka, the Mandalorian, Rangers, and a climatic it all culminates in an epic story event. That's going to be awesome. There's one question that I got to ponder here, and that is, what happens to Grogu?
Yeah.
Where's Grogu going? He left with Luke.
Does he disappear with Luke and that's it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is that almost just killing him off?
Based on marketing, I got to say a big no. He's going to.
I got to say a big no. Disney learned about marketing when it came to changes they made to the Imagination Pavilion and cutting Figment out. They're not going to cut Grogu out. This guy's a moneymaker. But so maybe in this grand event, Grogu comes back as a hero. Who knows?
Perhaps.
It could be Grogu versus Thrawn.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. So what do we do in the meantime, right? All I got for us is Gallery coming out on Christmas Day.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
Which I can't wait to see. Ed, they talked about in that Investor Day that they made a bigger one for season 2, and they're building 3 more of these things.
Oh, the
volume.
Right.
The stagecraft.
They were talking about that, true, which is incredible. They're going to be across the country, and I think one in England.
Australia, England, and I forget where the other one
California.
Was. In California somewhere.
Doing
3
a second
more.
one in California. Yeah.
Sure. And that's what's going to support all those things they got going on.
It's a new business. They can rent that thing out to other companies when they're not using it.
Yeah.
Or Disney Live Action can use it, or Marvel. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's amazing. It is.
Your kid's birthday party.
Yeah, exactly. Rent it out for the birthday party. The problem is when you look at it from the making of, you don't see it the way the camera does. It's all set up for the camera, and then outside of the camera, it kind of overlaps, and the screens aren't exactly lined up, and it's a little wonky. But when you look at it through the camera, it's perfect. That's just so cool. And it's post-production at the same time. It's no green screen. That's what's amazing, and that's what the back. If you guys haven't watched that, you need to go watch that. By the way, Rebels and Clone Wars, need to watch it. You're absolutely right, kid.
Yeah, David needs to catch up
because it's going to catch you up.
I was really expecting Mando at the end to take that little stick shift ball knob and hand it to Grogu. I'm wondering if that was a cut scene for time or something.
I think it's going to come back later.
So did Grogu still have it?
No, Mando has it. From when the Razor
Mando took it out of when a Razor Crest.
Oh, that's right. He found it when he was looking for the spear.
Yeah.
He found it.
The Crater used to be the Razor Crest.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's a good point, Stan. That would have been a perfect way to end it as far as the memento. But then, okay, I keep coming back to Anakin and his mother. And the way Anakin loved his mother, isn't that what caused him to become Darth Vader down the road? So his attachment to Mando at this point, and he's an older child, and he's not, I don't know if I'm getting too deep at this point, so we're going to move on.
But I don't know. But I'm with you, Ed. Yeah, and we talked about it last week because I think that the whole fear thing that Ahsoka sensed in him, and then him smashing the stormtroopers together.
Sure,
but Luke should be able to.
Kara, when they were doing the arm wrestling, he started choking Kara.
Right?
Yeah, I forgot that. I forgot
reminding us of that one. That's the biggest one.
I think that's childish instincts. I don't think it's.
It could be.
I think you're digging too deep. I think it's just he's a child and he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand.
Your instinct to choke people, that's a dark side.
Yeah, but he thought he was being protective in the scene with Cara Dune. He thought Cara Dune was hurting.
Oh, was attacking the Mandalorian. Yeah.
Yeah,
but you could have force pushed versus choking.
Well, then that comes back to Jimmy telling me he's a kid, though. That might be just the reaction he had at that point. He wasn't even using his force powers again. He was starting to get back to that.
Yeah, but remember what Asoka said, that he was hiding his powers to protect himself.
Right.
Like he didn't want anybody to know he could do that.
He thought Anakin was bad up until the very end. So
there you go. Luke had his adoptive parents burned alive and didn't go to the dark side.
Yeah.
He had his adoptive.
He didn't really care. He wanted to get away from him anyways. they were kind of holding him back.
Yeah, I mean, but Luke also had a weird, strong connection to Obi-Wan Kenobi, who he just really met.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah,
and
it was written well.
So I got one other thing. Ed, you didn't see this last week, but I love this and I want to play it again, if that's all right, because you guys saw this too. This is chapter 13 side by side with chapter 7 and the cadence of "You Have Something I Want."
You should see this.
Moff Gideon.
You have something I want. You may think you have some idea of what you're in possession
of,
but you do not. In a few moments,
he will be back with me. He means more to me than you will ever know.
I just love that.
I missed that. I didn't know that was so exact.
Yeah, you did a great job on that.
Such a good call.
So between those two, I got two videos I want to put out. That's one of them. The other one is the two fight scenes next to each other, because to me those are like the two holy cow moments. But really, we did a closing show of season 1, and we talked about season 1 as we prep for season 2. There's so much that happened in season 2. There are so many great moments, so many great quotes. The frog lady, the guy that had Mando's armor, and the sheriff, and the crate dragon, and man, I just love it.
The spiders.
The spiders. No, they didn't love them so much, but yeah, the spiders. Does Mando have a Force connection? I don't know.
I don't
know anything about it.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think we would have found it if he made it in through that blue shield around Grogu on the last one when he was communicating with Luke. Maybe if he had some type of Force connection. Otherwise, maybe not. A lot of people, I think we're going to find out that a lot of people have a Force connection, but it's a matter of just being very, very mild. Very like
I have a connection. I mean,
they can sense the weather is changing or stuff like that. But yeah,
but you see, Krennic was like that in Rogue One. He sort of had a bit of Force connection, but not strong in it.
Right. But
my knees aching up. Oh, it's going to rain. No, that's the Force.
Well, I mean, the idea behind the Force is that it flows through every living being.
And I'm thinking back to those kids in the newer movies, in the last trilogy, where you had the kids at the end where they're supposedly moving around stuff with the Force. And
this guy moved the broom, so he was definitely
right.
So
many stories to be told, and that's I absolutely love the fact that there's so much space and so many stories that can be told, because at the end of the day, and I'm probably going to speak for you guys, this is the Luke Skywalker I always wanted to see. This was the Luke that went on after Return of the Jedi and just was taking everybody out. When I was a kid and I saw it, that's where you knew it was going. And then the announcement was we're getting prequels. And you're like, no, what happened to Luke?
And I feel like I know him really well in that period, too. I read, Stan and I were talking about this. We've read dozens of books that really gave you an idea of how tough it was for Luke after Return of the Jedi to be the only, quote unquote, at that time, the only Jedi, and having to start everything up again, and how he had nobody to talk to. He had no idea what was right or wrong, what was dark side or light side. It was crazy.
He figured it out.
I'm waiting for him to bring Mace Windu back.
Yeah, he's still out there, right? Who's getting early with that lightsaber?
Did you guys ever see the Tarkovsky series?
Ed heard it.
What's that?
No.
Before Clone Wars.
Say it again.
An animated series.
I did not see
Mace Windu scene where he just goes ballistic beating battle droids.
I can see that.
Oh, you got to check it out. You've seen it, eh, Sam?
I'm not sure.
Oh, you got to check it out. See if you can find it somewhere. It's not on Disney Plus. but it's called the Tarkovsky series.
We will look for it. I'll share that too, guys. It's been an hour. I could talk all night with you guys even too. It's been an hour. Thank you guys for watching and commenting. And we appreciate you being here with us here to talk Star Wars, because we are just nerds that love Star Wars at the end of the day. Thank you so much for being with us. May the Force be with you. You guys got outros? The Force is strong in Jimmy's family. See that?
I'm with David. I am one with the Force, and the Force is one with me.
There you
go. One of my favorite Star Wars characters is Chirrut Imwe. And the only other person I think you hear say that, and I just watched it, is Asoka when she's over Rex, about to get the chip removed from his head right before she says that to him. She says that.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back. Have a happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. We'll be back in January. Thanks, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for watching and listening to WRRT WompRat Radio Tatooine.
Goodbye, old friend. May the Force be with you.
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 May the Force be with us all.
And may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with us.
May the Force be with you.
And may the Force be with us.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you both.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with us.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
The Force will be with you. Always.
Remember,
The Force will be with you. Always.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker.
may the Force be with you.